What's good, y'all? My name is Zach Young, and welcome back to Young Money Sports. Welcome to another episode of Was He Any Good? And a huge welcome to all the new faces we have here today. I mean, holy shit, y'all must have loved that Shaq video, man. When I posted that video, I had around 40 subscribers, and at the time that I'm recording this video, I have around like 130. Like, the reception and just the growth that I've had in just the last couple of days has been crazy, and I love y'all for that. Quick shoutouts to Pretty Boy Ashton, Guts the Man 65, and Liam O'Brien 5657 for the recommendation. The support is always appreciated. Without further ado, let's get into it. Derrick Rose, quite possibly the biggest what-if in NBA history. Taken first overall in the 2008 NBA draft after a stellar college career at Memphis, Rose was able to instantly become the face of the Chicago Bulls and bring instant success to the team. His explosive speed, excellent slashing and playmaking, and insane athleticism garnered attention and accolades for the team and himself. He seemed to be on a surefire Hall of Fame trajectory after his first couple seasons in the league. He was the 2009 Rookie of the Year, a three-time NBA All-Star, member of the All-NBA First Team, and his biggest individual achievement, becoming the youngest player in NBA history to be named the most valuable player, something that Rose seemed to have spoken into existence before the season started.
The way I look at it within myself, why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why. Why?
It looked like the Bulls were entering another era of championship contention. The first 2 years of the Rose era saw 2 first-round exits, but once the team added guys like Carlos Boozer, Kyle Korver, and the biggest addition, Brian Scalabrine, the team had their best season in 13 years. They won 62 games on the back of Rose, their free agents, and guys like Joakim Noah and Luol Deng continuing to improve. They would lose to the Miami Heat in the conference finals, but there was no reason to think that Rose and the team would be going anywhere anytime soon. The 2011-12 season would be more of the same for Rose and the Bulls. The team won 50 of the 66 games in the lockout-shortened season, and Rose was named to his third All-Star team. He would only play in 39 games because of various lower body injuries and back spasms, foreshadowing what would come up later in the year.
Look, we're looking to sweep you guys. You wanted us. You were crying out that you bypassed the harder team in Miami Heat.
Rose came down bad on his left foot. See him holding on to his knee and down.
Derrick Rose would tear his ACL in Game 1 of the 2012 NBA playoffs. Both at the time and looking back at it, he should have never been in that game. I mean, the Bulls were up by 16 with 2 minutes left and 12 at the time that Rose got hurt. Bulls head coach Tom Thibodeau later said that the game wasn't over and that Rose needed practice to close out games, which is just the dumbest logic that I've ever heard. You're up by 12 with 1 minute left against the 8th seed, and it would take a divine miracle to lose that game, even with your scrubs in. Rose's injury would be met with condolences from all around the league. He was a guy that everyone could get behind, and this is one of those moments where teams didn't matter. Players and coaches around the league saw one of their own suffer a horrible injury and wanted nothing but the best for him. The Bulls would lose to the 8th seeded 76ers in 6 games, and although we didn't know it at the time, the Bulls' championship window had slammed shut as quickly as it had opened. From that point, Rose would never be the same in Chicago. He played in only 127 games in his last 4 seasons with the Bulls. His last great moment came in the 2015 playoffs with a game winner against LeBron and the Cavs. Rose's time in the Windy City ended in June of 2016. He was traded to the New York Knicks in exchange for about a bag of peanuts and a Diet Coke. This definitely had something to do with his injury history and the fact that he was on an expiring contract. One of, if not the most infamous moments of Rose's Knicks tenure happened on the day that he was traded. In the 2019 documentary, Who? The Derrick Rose Story, Rose was being interviewed for the documentary the same day that he would be traded to the Knicks. He was actually talking about the at-the-time rumors that he would be traded to New York, and how he would love nothing more than to stay in Chicago. That's when he got a call from his agent, BJ Armstrong.
What's up, B?
Alright, so I just talked to Phil. The trade is gonna happen to the Knicks.
You lying.
I ain't bullshit.
You serious?
Yeah. So I wanna let you know first. So, I just talked to Phil. It's gonna happen. Alright?
Yeah.
What was the phone call?
That might be traded to New York.
The This club is just hard to watch, man. D-Rose is from Chicago, and he loved playing for his hometown team, comparing it to Dell Curry playing in Charlotte and raising Steph. Watching Rose fight through tears while on the phone with his agent is just tough to see, because we all know what he's lost at this point, and how much he loves Chicago and playing for his hometown team. This was probably the most notable thing about Rose in New York, unless you want to count his claim that the Knicks were a super team, or him going AWOL for a game. He played alright, fighting with Phil Jackson's triangle offense and suffering another season-ending injury. Derrick Rose became a free agent in the summer of 2017. Teams were weary of his contract expectations, as on paper, he had a solid year with the Knicks. There were teams like the Lakers and Bucks who were hearing him out, and the Knicks were even rumored to want to re-sign him, but the former MVP would take his talents to Cleveland, teaming up with what many thought would be his longtime rival in LeBron James. This was Cleveland's attempt to one-up Golden State by forming their own super team, which would have worked if they signed these guys like 5 years earlier. Rose wanted to join Cleveland simply because he wanted to win, which is understandable. I mean, at this point, with how weak the Eastern Conference was, just being on the Cavs meant that you were guaranteed to be playing in the finals. Rose only played 16 games in Cleveland. Once again, injuries played a major role in his struggles. He injured his ankle just 11 games into the season, keeping him out long term and making him even question if he wanted to continue playing in the NBA. He made his return over 2 months later against the Magic, but his role was severely diminished, and it was clear that this Cavs roster just wasn't working. On February 8th of 2018, Rose was traded to Utah along with Jay Crowder. Crowder would stay with the Jazz, but Rose would be waived without even playing a game in Utah. It would take almost a month, but D-Rose would find another home. You may wonder why it took so long, and it's not the reason you're really thinking. Rose actually had a kid around the time, and he was taking some time to be there with his at-the-time girlfriend and daughter. He would reunite with his old coach Tom Thibodeau when he signed with Minnesota, which is what we'll be evaluating today to see if he was any good. Rose felt that it was a very comfortable environment in Minnesota, as he was not only around his former coach, but former Bulls Jimmy Butler and Taj Gibson were also on the team. He only played 9 games for Minnesota in the last third of the 2017-18 season, missing 6 games because of another ankle injury, and when he did play, he was mostly inefficient and only played around 12 minutes a night. Strangely enough, I guess maybe because Tibbs wanted to make up for 2012, Rose had a bigger role in the 2018 playoffs against the Houston Rockets, and he actually played pretty well. He played in all 5 games, coming off the bench with his minutes being doubled. He averaged 14 points in 24 minutes on 59% true shooting. It wasn't enough to even come close to beating the Rockets, but it was just cool to see D-Rose catch a break and look alright for the first time in what felt like forever. One of the Timberwolves' top priorities in the 2018 offseason was re-signing Derrick Rose, and they were able to get him back on another 1-year deal. Coach Tom Thibodeau was also the president of basketball operations, and he believed that Rose would fit well with their system. He also credited Rose's performance in the playoffs as the reason that they signed him back. This felt more like a prove-it contract, since it was the second year in a row signing for the minimum, and the Wolves had other options at point guard that would also see good minutes in Tyus Jones and Jeff Teague. If Rose struggled, then it would be easy to have him sit on the bench or even cut him if need be. Rose saw the whole situation as just another opportunity to do what he loved. He had no ill will towards Tibbs or how his career had panned out after his 3rd year. His outlook was more appreciative, noting how most would have been out of the league by this time if they were in his shoes. And I think that's a pretty admirable way to look at it, as I feel that, like Rose said, many others would have given up much earlier. The first 2 games of the 2018-19 season were nothing special for the former MVP, but Game 3 is where things started to get interesting. Rose played 32 minutes off the bench and put up 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 stocks in a 140-136 loss to the Dallas Mavericks. His ability to finish at the rim and get separation with his speed harkened back to the days where he was doing that on a regular basis. Over the next 4 games, Rose would look alright, consistently putting up double figures, even if he wasn't shooting the ball that well in the stretch. But I guess he was just saving that for what would come next. Halloween night, 2018. A holiday that is known for weird and creepy events, and nothing stranger happened that night than what took place in the Target Center. The Timberwolves were taking on the Utah Jazz, and D-Rose got the start because of injuries to Jeff Teague and Tyus Jones. This was Rose's first start of the year, and it's safe to say that he definitely took advantage of this opportunity. In this game, Derrick Rose scored not 30, not 40, but 50 points, a mark that he never even hit in his prime, and he did so while only hitting 4 threes. The rest were scored with mid-range shots and some insane finishes. Like his 28-point performance earlier in the year, Rose used his speed to blow past defenders and finish at the rim. He also threw in 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and what would be the game-saving block. When the horn sounded, the Timberwolves walked away with a 128-125 win. All the Timberwolves players crowded Rose, all while Derrick was trying to wipe tears from his eyes. Watching these highlights and his post-game interview caught me back then, and especially now. This was just another time where Derrick Rose brought the basketball world together, this time for more of a positive reason. Like the announcer said, everyone knew what he had lost and what he was just trying to get back.
What does it mean to you, Derrick?
Man, everything, man. I worked my ass off, bro. I wouldn't have did this for the franchise, the organization, the fans, everybody, man. I wouldn't be able to play the way I play, man.
I think by this time, everyone knew that Rose was never going to get back to that MVP form. But at least for that night, on Halloween night, we saw a flash of what could have been. Like what so many said that night, Derrick fell, then Derrick rose. In typical Derrick Rose fashion, he would get hurt 2 nights later against Golden State, but it only kept him out for 1 game, so it wasn't that bad. November would prove to be Rose's best month in Minnesota, scoring over 20 points in 7 of the 12 games that he played. He also showed significant improvement in his 3-point shooting, hitting at a 56% clip, including a game where he hit 7 threes against the Lakers. He was able to maintain a good and consistent form. There would be injuries here and there, but nothing was super long-term. Rose still looked great through December, and the love for him just kept on pouring in. When the first All-Star voting results came in, Derrick Rose had the 2nd most votes of any Western Conference guard, only trailing Stephen Curry. Even after the 3rd round of voting ended, Rose still only trailed Curry. He didn't end up making it in, but it was still awesome for him just to be getting this much support at this time. And I can see both why he should and shouldn't have been an All-Star. He wasn't better than guys like Harden, Lillard, or Westbrook, but at the same time, why not? Rose's story that season was amazing, and we gotta take advantage of guys having seasons like that. It means so much more to the fans to see guys have breakout years and be recognized for it, rather than seeing the same regular guys get selected. Rose would continue to play well through the All-Star break and beyond, but an issue kept coming up that fans were all too used to by this point. Rose was starting to consistently miss games due to injuries. He had 4 reported ankle injuries from January 12th to February 12th of 2019, missing 7 games in the process. Rose's season would officially come to an end on March 21st of 2019. He'd have been having issues with his right elbow and decided to get surgery to remove bone chips from it, putting him out for the remainder of the year. The Timberwolves were well out of a playoff spot this time, so it made sense for Rose to get a surgery that would hopefully help him come back stronger next season. He ended the season averaging 18 points, shooting at an at-the-time career-high percentage from deep in 51 games. He finished the season in 8th place for Most Improved Player voting and 6th place in 6th Man of the Year voting. He would cash in on this success in the 2019 offseason, signing a 2-year, $15 million contract with the Detroit Pistons, making this his first non-minimum contract since his extension with Chicago that he signed in 2012. From that point on, Derrick Rose would gracefully transition into more of a mentorship role. He was solid for his years in Detroit and his 2nd stint in New York, but recently he has been a guy who gets signed to a team to mentor the younger guards. He's currently on the Memphis Grizzlies, where he can hopefully teach Ja Morant to focus more on basketball and not toting guns around on the social media. But to answer the question, Derrick Rose in Minnesota, was he any good? I'm going to give this a resounding yes. I believe that playoff series against Houston in 2018 saved his career. If he didn't play at all, or played at the level that he did during the regular season, there was a chance that he could have been out of the league altogether. Thankfully, he showed out, and played even better in his first full season with the team. Yeah, Minnesota wasn't that good and missed out on the playoffs that year, but I don't think you can really put that on Rose. The Timberwolves were just a damn trash fire that never fully got back on track after Jimmy Butler went all scorched earth on them earlier in the year with his practice tirade and trade request. Rose had a great individual year, and that's going to take some precedent over team success with this evaluation. And I think all of us hope that now he can close out his career as healthy and fulfilled as possible. But what did you guys think of Derrick Rose in Minnesota? Who would you like to see next on Was He Any Good? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what y'all think about Derrick Rose and the Hall of Fame. Basketball Reference only has him with around a 10% chance to get in, which is really crazy to think about. I personally think he should, since he did win MVP and he was a stud in college. But let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all later.
Rose and everybody here at United Center chanting MVP.
MVP chants. First free throw for Derrick. I think that was a smile, too.